My name is Dr Tammy Johnson, and I am located in Australia on the beautiful Gold Coast, and I teach law at Bond University. My presentation today is on enhancing negotiation skills in legal education, and my approach to that is to harness the benefits of generative AI and to create and use a chatbot approach. So in that regard, I'll start my presentation. So first of all, sort of answering the why do we need to do this, or why should I be doing this? Because no matter what area of law our graduates go into, negotiation is at the core of legal practice. So if they're going into commercial law, they're going to need to negotiate for their clients. If they're going into family law, then again, negotiation is going to be something that happens every day. And of course, the same in criminal law, you're always trying to negotiate to keep the client out of jail. So the role of negotiation has significance. In fact, it's critical in legal practice, and therefore it should be given critical importance in legal education. But there is an educational gap. So a problem that has arisen in that we tend to assess legal skills, but rarely do we have the opportunity to teach them formatively. So a lot of the time students are provided with a skills demonstration or a skills lecture or some theory about negotiation skills, but rarely do we give them the opportunity to practice and receive feedback before finally being assessed on that skill and their mastery of that skill. A lot of it simply comes down to the fact that we just don't have a lot of spare time. We have a lot of content that we have to get through. It's prescribed that we have to get through that content, and we simply don't have enough time for the number of students that we have to be able to allow everyone multiple chances of practicing their skills. So in terms of filling the gap, this is where my idea to harness the power of generative AI came into it, because I've created with a colleague of mine, Serge Comodina. He's in our Office of Learning Teaching here at Bond University, and Serge and I are working very closely to create a chatbot that will provide and be a practical and very interactive tool that students can use to provide them with real-life negotiation simulations and ongoing constructive feedback. And so that will then, the bot will be programmed and evolved so that it can fill the gap that us educators aren't able to fill, because we simply don't have the resources or the time to fill that educational gap and provide that ongoing formative feedback. So in terms of what we've done here, we have created a bot that I have called Sage. Sage being a dual purpose name, as you would be aware, a sage is generally a wise person, a wise one. And also in this instance, it will stand for skills advancement through guided engagement. And so the bot will actually provide students with a platform that they can practice and refine their negotiation skills. It's designed to simulate real-life negotiation scenarios. We have programmed it with several negotiation scenarios, both transactional negotiation and dispute resolution negotiation scenarios, and the students can access that, and depending on the nature of their upcoming assessment, whether it's a transactional or a dispute resolution negotiation assessment, they can practice with the bot and program in a role that they wish to take or a party that they wish to represent. They can also program in a different level of difficulty, different areas of law, and also different negotiation styles. So they'll be able to practice multiple things probably starting with some of the formalities like setting an effective agenda for the negotiation, learning to prioritize issues, etc., and getting feedback on each of those. So they don't have to do a full half-hour or hour-long negotiation with the bot. They can start and stop as they go and get feedback on an ongoing basis. And they can repeat, say, that agenda was a bit unusual. We didn't really prioritize things. Let's have another go. And so they can repeat that. They have unlimited feedback and unlimited attempts to utilize it. Also, what the bot is programmed to do, in addition to delivering that instant feedback, is to effectively model appropriate negotiation behavior to students. So the bot has been programmed to use effective negotiation techniques and to model the skills that we are trying to teach the students. So the bot will particularly engage in or prompt an ongoing summary, so that we're utilizing that skill of summarizing along the way. It will also promote and prompt and ask sort of probing questions. It will reframe statements that have been made. It will acknowledge things of importance, statements of importance that have been made. And so it also models not just the skills, but also appropriate language. How are we doing it? It's in its infancy at the moment. It's in the testing stage, where the user interaction is just a GPT-based interface at the moment. We're looking for a platform that will ultimately be very cost-effective or free for the students, and will integrate into our learning management systems here. So the user interaction is very simple, very easy to use. You can do it on a text base, or you can also use an actual voice prompted. I test during using the voice prompted. So I actually have a conversation with Sage. I have an audio negotiation with Sage, but that also, if you link into to GPT, that will also create an ongoing transcript of the negotiation. So for us, for data testing and bug fixes, et cetera, is great because we can go right back to the transcript. But for students, they can also access that. And so they can figure out how they're going to improve in future, exactly the language that they used, and have that transcript coming back. So if they have those little verbal tics, students tend to like to say, "you guys," a lot, and use a little bit of informal language, which we try and train out of them as budding legal professionals. We certainly want to make sure that everybody uses inclusive language, and are very much aware of that. So students will receive the feedback through the feedback mechanism. Ultimately, we want to be able to embed it into our learning management system, and so that the students will have access to it on an unlimited basis there. Finally, the benefits for the students: it gives them opportunities to practice before assessment, which would otherwise be missing. They wouldn't have. It builds competence and confidence, particularly with some of our students for whom English is not a first language, and sometimes they are a little shy about their language skills, particularly in a room full of native English speakers. And so it helps them build their competence and their confidence. And I think confidence is an incredible skill to build as well. It's an incredible thing to empower the students with. It simulates real-world transactions, so it's experiential learning, and it also encourages engagement with this by the students. So it encourages them to have a go and not just be passive. For us as educators, it saves us that valuable class time because we're already very time poor and constrained by the curricula that we have to teach. And it provides an effective formative assessment tool, allowing for that incremental skill development and giving the provision of that vitally important ongoing feedback, so that students can identify their areas of weakness, also their strengths, and build upon both. And make the weaknesses into strengths is what I meant to say. It also guides the students towards achieving that desired subject learning outcome of being an effective negotiator and an effective oral communicator. So that brings me to the end of my slideshow. I'll stop sharing now And thank you for your time.